Well, good morning. It is actually very early this morning because today is going to be a roaster. So we thought we would get up here nice and early and then head off before the heat really hits. As you can see, I've still got wet hair from the shower. But we've been got. You know, last year we were dug up like continuously. And this year, I mean, I'm touching wood, but this year's touching a splinter is what I'm doing there. We've actually been so lucky. Other people on the site have been getting got, and we've just been really, really lucky. This morning, we've been got big time. Had a couple of nibbles over the last couple of months where they've just got in somewhere and ruffled it all up. Unfortunately, I think we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 beds got, and all of those beans that I planted along the edge are no longer planted. Let me take you on a tour of destruction. The first bed, so the one that's down here closest to the shed, has been got. All of those lovely lettuces, you know, the ones that I was talking about last week that are the quite flat-lying ones that came in those pelleted seeds, they've all been dug up. Mum has just reburied the roots to try and, you know, keep them alive. But the chard all along this side, as you can see, is all pretty much out of the ground. Mum planted last week, you'll remember, she put in some of the spare chilies and peppers that we didn't have room for elsewhere, like the really late ones. They've just been sat in pots, poor things. She put them in here. Well, there's one missing because they were in 2 rows of 5 and we've got, no, they were in 2 rows of 4, sorry, and we've got 4. 1, 2, 3, and a nothing. Yes. Here, look.
I knew what something was missing, but I couldn't see what it. Well, yeah, they're not there though.
It's just not there.
Unless it's buried under here somewhere.
Maybe. Oh, we'll have a bit of a dig around and see if we can find it. Anyway, first bed that's been got. Second bed is actually one of the ones under the good covers. But what had happened was one of the things that I haven't quite worked out yet is how we're attaching the netting to the base, which is like the main bit of it. And we've been tying it around and it's been fairly successful, but on this edge it had come up. So this had a bit of a loop in it and that's exactly where they've gone straight in. So that is the chicory, the sorrel, the peppermint chard has all been turfed out. This end has been churned up, but it actually looks all right. So that's the Thai basil. You see, whereas this one that is also with one of these covers is still really well tied down at the bottom. So they haven't been in there, haven't been able to get in there. Just this one where it would come up. Next on the digging list, they have been all the way through up here where I planted or sowed the beans last week. As you can see, they were germinating nicely. I mean, some of them are like this, so that we've still got the roots and the germination and everything. I'm just going to get that straight back in the soil. But a lot of them have been snapped off here, understandably, because they're so delicate at this stage. But yeah, really, really frustrating, chaps. Yeah, all under here. So this is where I had the netting to stop the girls digging it up. Yeah, they've just taken everything. That one's broken. Oh, that one's still good. There's one still in place there. What has happened though is that the beans that were doing something, you know, they're just starting to reflower, are now also out of the ground. Bloody great. Let's get these in here. I'm gonna have to devise some better method of covering these guys up, aren't I? Yes, I am. So they've also in this bed dug up potatoes behind, but have a look at this. This is one of the ones that they've dug up and left. Absolute whopper. That was actually quite a pleasant surprise. Jacket potato. This side, same thing. All these little chaps. That one's had its head bitten off, but I'll just, you know, you never know. I think you're pretty certain that's not going to happen. That one's okay. Let's get that back in there. Cover all them up. Oh, there's another one that's okay. Let's get that in there. Oh, some of these might be all right, actually, you know, boys and girls. Doesn't seem to be anything in that space there. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do something. I mean, the problem is, you know, I said last week when I was talking about why the beans haven't been so successful is lack of watering. So what have we done? We've given them a really, really good soak, a deep water, and that has brought the digging. So it's a bit catch-22 at the moment, actually. It's like, do we not water them and the beans just really suffer? Or do we water and they get dug up every day? Bloody annoying, boys and girls. Bloody annoying. But we got a jag potato out of it. Right, next one. This here has also been dug up. This is the Malabar spinach bed. This is the Malabar spinach. It's just all been turfed out of the ground. Just destruction. Bloody great. I'm going to replant that though. No wonder this poor blooming Malabar hasn't had a chance to get going. Bloody... I do not think we're going to be having much of this year. Poor bloody plants. And then what do? Like they'll get dug out, so you've got to replant them. When you replant something, you've really got to give them a good old soaking because their roots have just been exposed, poor things, trying to give them the best chance. And then what does that? Encourages the baddies back. Like I say, catch-22 at the moment, although these look pretty decent. Their necks are just starting to dry off, so they're not far off ready, actually, which is quite good. Let me leave my potato there. What else have we got? Didn't touch the parsley, which is good. Oh, we haven't watered the parsley. That's why. They haven't dug under here, but I've actually still got the original mesh basket over these ones. So that is interesting because this got just as much water. They've shredded this side, unfortunately, but not touched this side. So that's very positive. We might just have to reinstall these, you know. But this side is not looking too hot. Get all that back in, bury those. All of this parsley, I'm not too sad about that. It had gone to seed. Behind, we've got a load of chicory, unfortunately, that has all been turfed out. That was just starting to come good. You know, when you put a plant in and it does a little bit of a sulk, and then you just noticed that like 2 weeks later or something, it just suddenly looks like it's meant to be there in the ground, like it's really settled in. That's what they were looking like. Not anymore. This is the bed that they've been through in the past. This was the only bed up until this point that we had actually had attacked, and it had pretty much no netting on it. Lots and lots of new stuff growing in there, so we'd been watering again. So this was a target bed. But yeah, up until... Oh, they've been through there too. A poo, a poo, a poo, 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 chaps. Absolute poo. Was living in a state of false security. However, loads more tomatoes to pick, and not just ones in the polytunnel. We've got the outdoor ones to go. We have got Kailan to pick. We have got to do something with the chimney wrapper because it's just still come up like a hedge and I need to sort that out. And some of it has actually already started to produce flowers, so I need to sort that out. Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all bad. I need to rebury the kale. But my goodness, the flowers on that side are looking beautiful. Look at this. Ignore this. Ignore that. Look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. I love these snapdragons. Look, we've got like beautiful pale lemon. Look how many bees and things are just everywhere on them. We've got the pink. Obviously the calendula is up everywhere. It's just such a beautiful colour. And above we've got all the verbena floating around. And then look at this colour. It's like apricot peach. Just so beautiful. And then we've got this dahlia in here, which is just an absolute gem. It's been completely and utterly smothered by this massive tree spinach that we're slowly eating. But yeah, what a beautiful little patch. It's not all bad, chaps. It's not all bad. Oh, the sweet peas look amazing too. So these are the outdoor tomatoes that I'm about to talk about because I'm actually really excited about those. But look, the sweet peas have started up. What a gorgeous selection of colours. That one at the back there, the sort of two-tone purple and magenta, is like a real standard one that was in the mix. And then we've got sort of pink and blue. I'll have to pick some of those today. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving the flowers at the moment. Just love it. Look at the dahlias down that end. If I just stand here and admire this, we can ignore the rest. Ignore the cabbage whites too. Or you can really feel the temperature is rising. It's about 9 o'clock now after our little tour of misery. Oh, we've put some other things back in as well. But the temperature is rising like so quickly. It's going to be an absolute scorcher. It's going to be lovely. One of those days that you just want to do nothing though. You don't really want to be digging on a day like this. How beautiful. Should we go and check on the grapes? Let's go and check on the grapes. Grape watch is in action. Mum has dug the potatoes out of here. You know, we had masses of spares because we got potatoes from Ian at Grown Local this year, and I normally go to Chapman's, you know, this place in Twickenham, and he sells them individually. Like if you want to grow a whole different load of varieties and you don't want to grow too many of them, I normally go there. But Ian very kindly gave us some, and it was so many. We had like 2 kilos of each. It was outrageous. So we've just basically planted potatoes everywhere, which has actually turned out to be brilliant. I think it's that time again now. I think it's pre-order time, so I might get hold of him and see what's what this year. But yeah, so we had all the excess potatoes that we just couldn't possibly fit anywhere else chucked in here in the fruit cage where we'd taken the raspberries out. As you can see, not enormously successful raspberry removal because we've still got loads of them in the corner. But yeah, let's have a look at the grapes. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Look at this absolute gorgeousness. So many of them, look at this. Oh yeah. Oh, they're so lovely. So, oh my goodness, look, there's more up here. I hadn't even seen these ones. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Right. What was I just about to say? Yeah, so it's quite nice because these grapes, they go red when they're ready, or not red, they're not like red grapes that you get, you know, they're really proper. These are more like a blush grape, and they are so good. They're so beautiful. So beautiful. Love them. Right. And I tell you what, it's interesting because we've got loads on this arm of the grape, which kind of comes sideways all the way into this central piece. This arm here, we have very, very little. We've got one bunch down here, but it's got the, you know, it's not really mold, but the like mildewy stuff that sometimes grapes get. Got that on this one bunch. And there's nothing else on this side. So I might have a look back to the video when I was pruning it and see if I did anything different on this side than I did on that side. Fab. What are you up to, girlies? So this over here is Val and Ruby. Ruby is our chief chicken. She's the white one. They are both Pekin Bantams. You know, they've got pantaloons on. Winnie, who is the dark Wyandotte just there with the red juice just looking up, and her counterpart, oh, she's disappeared now. That's Margot. And that over there is Violet, who's just got the best hop. They are being menaces at the moment, aren't ya? But Winnie and Violet are unbelievably smart birds. I mean, we've had Wyandottes before, and they are generally a really smart bird. From our experience, they're quite, they're incredibly inquisitive and always up to no good. And they are living up to their name. You see, here's Vi. Vi and Win. Got to keep an eye on those two. Margot's a complete Fruit Loop. She's the lowest of the chickens, so she's the bottom of the run, and she is paranoid and anxious and scatty, which is understandable if you're the bottom heap. Obviously, Ruby is the top, who's the white one, and then we've got Val, haven't we, Val? We've got you. She's the biggest of the chickens, and she is. What she has in body size, she doesn't really have in brain power. Do you, sausage? No. No, you don't, darling. But she's a lovely, docile chicken. Hey, aren't ya? Yeah, lovely, lovely chicken. You don't cause much trouble, do you? No. The only trouble you cause is when you can't find the door. Yes, I know. I know. Anyway, I was going to take you into the greenhouse rather than give you an impromptu chicken introduction. God, it smells great in here. Wow. Everything's looking pretty decent in here. Same as last week, you can see things are really moving on. The spinach has come up loads. Actually, a lot of that is probably ready to go out. Those spring onions definitely are. A few more lettuces and things that could possibly go out. Purslane. I won't actually be sowing any more purslane because I'm just going to see if I can film this for you. Please excuse the upcoming very odd camera angle, but I got my jeans out of the wash yesterday. Where's my back pocket? Can you see? This is really difficult trying to film my own bottom, but can you see all that stuff that's stuck to the inside of my jean back pocket? That, boys and girls, is the purslane seed. It turns out when I sowed it last time, I did a bit of a chuck around and I rolled the packet up and stuck it in my back pocket and then proceeded to put my jeans in the wash. So I don't think those seed are viable anymore. But luckily, loads of these ones have come up and the dill's looking really brilliant. So I'm actually got high hopes for that. Okra, how gorgeous are they as seedlings? Absolutely love them. All of this is coming good. Yeah, pretty happy with in here. I'm also well chuffed with my kiwi. So I need to do a bit of sort out up here because it's kind of tying itself around itself rather than onto the mesh as intended. But don't know if you remember, we planted this outside last year and I essentially thought it had died. it did nothing. So it went in the ground with about 4 leaves of its own. And by the end of the year, it still only had those 4 leaves. They were just brown and crispy, like it had done nothing. It hated where we put it. So we kind of brought it in here for recovery, and it came good. So, well, maybe we could just have it in here permanently. But it's a bit tricky to know because they get huge, like where we could put it. So we decided that it was going to grow permanently in the corner and come up through under the bench and grow along the edge. So it's under here. This is where its main pot is. And it's growing up through the bench. And then we're going to grow it along bamboo canes all the way up onto the top of the ceiling, because this side of the greenhouse isn't where the sun comes in. That is all this other side here. Have a look at this. We've got a melon that's actually looking really pretty fantastic. That is a Minnesota midget. Got a cucumber that needs to come off there. That one, it developed really quite early and then didn't do much, but we've just started getting some more now. So if we've got a nice long summer, we should be melon rich. The chilies are just looking outrageously good. There are tons of them in here, absolutely tons. Look how wonderful the plants look. That is head height. Look. I mean, not head height, eye line height, I would say. I love them. I love them. We've never had chili plants get this big. They're in the quad grows. Actually, these ones that are really tall are in the chili grows, which are the even smaller pots than the quad grows. Yeah, so I'm really super chuffed with that. But it is whoppingly hot in here, so let's just escape. Ah, that's better. Okie dokie. We've got a lot of things to pick this morning, but the first thing we're going to do is actually dig up one of the potatoes in this bed. So this is the bed where that jacket potato has just come from. The problem with the potato, hang on, let me just go and get it. Okay. The potato, this one that has been dug up on that edge, is clearly, well, I would say it's a red Duke of York, but what's supposed to be in that bed is either Kerr's pink or Caledonian rose. Now, I've never grown a Caledonian rose before, but I thought they were white with a pink blush. Maybe this is a Caledonian rose. Right, I am going to just do a little bit of a Google search. One mo. No, it's all good. This is a Caledonian rose. I was thinking we'd completely messed up and put the first early Red Duke of Yorks in the long blooming main crop bed, and it was all going wrong. But it's just my ignorance. I didn't know that Caledonian rose actually looks like this. So I'm very excited. We've not tried these ones before. We're going to dig up the one that's been half dug up overnight that this came from, and hope for the best. Don't start digging yet, Mum. I haven't set the camera up.
Okay, and I'm going to come.
Okay, do you want me to go in?
Yeah, you're better at digging than I am.
Oh.
Nice looking potatoes.
They're great looking potatoes, yeah. Right, taste test incoming. Talking of taste test, we're actually going to do a tomato taste test. Mum has requested that this time round we don't do all the tomatoes on one day, because you were a bit tomatoed out last year, weren't you? Yeah, she's like, I don't need any more tomato. So we're going to break them up into categories. We're going to do the cherry tomatoes, or like the small tomatoes, and then we'll do big tomatoes like on a separate day, so that you're not got tomato overwhelm. We're also going to do a bit of a comparison between the outdoor ones and the indoor ones, because we do have a couple of crossovers, you know, where we've got some in there and some out here that are both ready, so we'll be able to taste the difference between them. But yeah, are you happier with that plan? Good. Good, good, good. Right, let's get a basket for these potatoes. Just as you walk past there, Winnie just did her wonderful hop that she does. Beauties, chaps. Oh, I don't have my microphone on. Give me a second. Is that better? I believe it will be. My God, the temperature is rising by the second. So we've got the tomatoes done. I'm going to give the tomatoes a bit of a feed. Yeah, give the tomatoes a feed. Next exciting thing though on the list is the first ever picking of Kailan. So Kailan or Gailan, Chinese broccoli. I've tried for 2 years to grow this, and the first year it bolted before it became broccoli shaped, you know, like it's got quite a robust stem. I'll show you, it's really distinctive. And we're going to chop the tops out. One of them we've let go a little bit far, unfortunately, but we're going to chop the tops out, have them tonight with the barbecue. And then supposedly it does the brassica thing of once you take the head out, it produces loads more at the sides. So yeah, very exciting. First picking. I'm really excited to taste it actually. Okay, right, what do I need? Snips and something to take the cage off with. Snips. No snips. Mum must be in possession of the snips. Mum, have you got the snips? Fantastico. Do you want to come and do a bit of Kailan excitement? Okay. First picking. Just, yes, stand back. I'm going to ping this one. Oh. All right. Chasing butterflies. Okay. This looks magnificent.
Those pectoral are looking like they're really ready to go out.
They are, yeah. So this, boys and girls, is the Kailan. You can see we've left this one go a little bit long. Oh, look, there is a caterpillar on there. Nice. Yeah, we've let this one go a little bit long, so we'll cut that and eat it anyway. But you see how fat these stems are? Like even the one that we haven't let go. Look at the width of those stems. They're magnificent. And we cut these off and then it produces more from in there. So yeah, well excited about trying this. And do they smell? Yes. Beautiful. the
Are
fatty.
you just going to do 2 or are you going to do 3? 2 probably. This one's not quite there, is it? Yeah, there. 'Cause it's only going
He's got another one coming there. You eat the leaves as well, you see.
Okay.
And this one. Look at that. Is that all of them?
Yeah, I think there's only this sparrow, is there?
Well, there's another one in there, but that's not quite ready yet. And these are them too, are they?
Well, I'm not sure.
No,
think
nor
they
am
might
I.
be something different. In fact, I think they are. These are called Premlodendens or something.
This is the South American broccoli, Prickyiaba.
Oh, that's it.
Yes. Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, look at that. Ooh. Okay, I'm just retreating in here to talk about this because it's warm. It's warm. Look at these. Look. Can you see how hot, sweaty? How beautiful are these? Right, okay, so ignore the flowers. But do you see? So that one's already started to sprout a second one there. But they're beautiful. Look how fat and chunks they are. And you do eat those top leaves that come with them. So what we're going to do with these is just chili, garlic, butter, shove them on the barbecue and devour them, I think, is the plan. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm well excited. And that other thing that was in there that Mum was talking about is called Prickyiaba. I will put the name on the screen because I'm probably wildly mispronouncing that. It's not something that I've ever heard said out loud before. It is a South American broccoli, and I will tell you about it when I get the seed packet from home because it looks exciting. Looks exciting. I'm loving this. Loving it. Right, in there, delicious. Next thing on the agenda is the Herbella, so that's the Minutina. So last week I planted a whole load of new ones out in the same bed that we put the outrageous lettuce in, because the old one has gone to seed. Now, it's a funny one. I've grown this for now 2-3 years in a row. This must be the 3rd year, and I've never actually let it go to flower this much. So once it starts producing its flower spikes, you normally cut it off at the bottom, like, you know, like how I cut rocket, where you just whoop, pick the whole plant up and snip right at the bottom, leaving about this much, and then you get the new flush. That's what you're supposed to do with that. But we've actually left these ones go and they've gone into full flower mode. And I don't know whether that means that they'll be over or whether I can still do the same. There's a couple of those plants that are really, they look like they're on their last legs. So what I'm going to do is whip them out, take what I can off them, because, you know, like a lot of lettucey things, obviously the Herbella, the Minutina stuff isn't actually related to the lettuce in that sense, but a lot of lettuce, greens, once they start to flower, once they start to bolt, they go incredibly bitter and practically inedible. That doesn't happen with them. So I'm going to whip everything off those plants that I don't think are going to survive anyway and eat that stuff. Now, I don't need 15 rows of Herbella or Minutina. So what I'm going to do is save the really good looking plants of those ones in that bed and snip them off and do that process. See if they will come back having gone into full flower. And then whip the rest of the bed out, because we've actually got loads of stuff, like I showed you earlier in the greenhouse. There's loads of stuff that needs to go out. And that's a really well protected bed. Some of the other beds that we do have space in are actually just a little bit exposed, and we don't have covers for them at the moment. So that is a prime bit of real estate. So I want to whip as many of those out as I can, but I'm going to leave some of the big ones for experimentation purposes. So this is them in here. As you can see, it's got one of our good mesh covers on it. Whoops. Let's get that one here. Yeah, and in full flower. So these are a type of plantain. obviously not a plantain like a banana, a plantain like the plantains you get in grass, and you'll be able to see that from these. Look really familiar. And oh, did you see all of that? Look at that! My God, I don't know if that's showing up on camera. It's just like firing off pollen. Yeah, so this is what the base of the plant looks like, and this is what you eat, and it's really very, very delicious. This is a really good strong plant. There's a couple of really good strong ones at the back there, but you can see in the middle here, these ones not looking so hot, so I'm going to take those out and just keep a patch over here, and then we'll use this space here for something else that needs to go out. So having chopped these right back, you can see that the grow point, which is in there, is still perfectly intact. I've not cut it off to the base. Still got a bit of, you know, stuff going on there, and that's where all the new leaves are going to come from. So I've got high hopes for these. And we've ended up with 4 rescues, and then all of this space in here that we're going to put something else in. That is a lot of Minutina. It's just coming up for, what time is it? 5 minutes to 11. And it's now officially too hot. So we're going to pack up. We'll probably be back this afternoon. Cheers, chaps. Well, we did end up going back to the allotment. Mainly really just to kind of batten down the hatches and build the defences and make sure that all of the netting was carefully pegged down properly, that there was no gaps, because that's what's happening. If everything's down correctly, they don't seem to be breaking through, which is why I'm pretty much convinced that it's foxes. There's a couple of ways to tell, really, in the sense of like paw prints, but they're a little bit tricky. Although badgers are very, very front heavy and you can see the claw marks on them, when they've been digging, or when the foxes have been digging, they don't often leave perfect paw marks. But I'm pretty convinced that it's foxes for a couple of reasons. First, it's the time of year. It is like mid-August, and teenage foxes are around at the moment. So the cubs have grown up and they're just starting to get their independence, but they're still going in groups. There'll be like 3 of them together or whatnot. And they're causing a lot of trouble. they're teenagers. They're teenage foxes. Actually, on our street at the moment, not at our end. I just touch MDF, touch wood. It's not actually happening up this end because we've only kind of got one half of the street here. But down the bottom end, on our WhatsApp group, it's like, oh, there was a fox in my kitchen this morning, and I turned around for 5 minutes and there was a fox in the sitting room. And they're just really inquisitive at this stage, and they haven't learnt that it's dangerous to do something, you know. So they're just in everything, trying to find their independence and find who they are, basically like human teenagers. They're a pain in the ass. Added to that, there's no badger latrines around that I can see anywhere, and that's normally a bit of a calling card. And they're not going after the produce. They are literally just like, if there's a gap, they'll put their head in and in they go. Whereas a badger will actually just rip through netting. You know, you'll find that it's been shredded. The foxes are just nipping underneath. You know, yeah, we're back there again, chaps. I promise not to make the next couple of vlogs, which I assume we're probably going to get got again. I promise not to make them too depressing. I'm sorry if this week's vlog was just a bit like, but you know, that happens. Anyway, I also fed the tomatoes while I was up there this evening, which was good because I've been meaning to do that for absolutely ages. So yeah, 2 things ticked off the list: defences, tomato feeding. A couple of things I didn't actually manage to get done this week that I wanted to. I say a couple of things, a lot of things I didn't manage to get done this week. It's been an unexpectedly busy week. But up the allotment, I really wanted to get the chimney wrapper thinned out, which I haven't done. So I'll do that first next week. Like, that's going to be high on the priority list because that's the scatter sown one that's got the 3 different varieties in it. Something in there, I don't know which variety it is, has bolted before it's got big. And I think that's just because of the heat. So lots of them look really fantastic. Like, some of them are growing really, really strongly. And then there's some which are only about this high that have bolted. So I'm going to strip all of those out, which will also be a thinning process. So the rest of them will have more space. So that's something I've got to do next week. I wasn't able to pin Mum down to do the tomato tasting. I think she's got tomato fear from last year. I mean, I really, poor woman. Like, last year we didn't have a great deal of tomatoes. We've been eating a lot of tomatoes so far this year, so I think her tolerance will have been built up. But last year I waited until we had basically one of everything and cut them up and then presented her with this enormous platter and forced her to eat samples of all of them and tell me what she thought. And by the end of it, I think she was quite pleased we didn't have any more tomatoes coming. So I've promised her this year that I'm not going to do that to her. But the cherry tomatoes, I didn't manage to pin her down. So we'll probably open next week's vlog actually with cherry tomato tasting. It's not just the cherries. I'm going to include some of the slightly bigger small tomatoes as well. So that'll include the Brad's Atomic Grape and the Black Moon, which is like it's a very big cherry, but it's certainly not a big slice of tomato, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we'll be doing that first thing next week. So I'm sure there was something actually I was going to go back to that I mentioned earlier. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I know what it was. It was the South American broccoli that I couldn't pronounce. Well, I have an update for you. It is spelt like this. I'll put it on the bottom here. And I have been reliably told by How Do You Pronounce Words in Brazilian website that it is pronounced, and I'm going to do her voice as well, Priacicaba. Priacicaba. So it's called Priacicaba. She had a very annoying voice. It was like computer-generated Brazilian voice. Anyway, very excited about that. They are nowhere near starting to produce any shoots yet. But that Kailan, which is the one that we were picking today, that's supposedly a very short season broccoli. So that's why it's starting to produce already. And yeah, excited about trying that. We're probably going to be having that for dinner. But the Priacicaba I got from a really small, fantastic seed company called Winnow Farm. And they actually contacted me earlier this year and was like, do you want to have a look at our seeds? Is there anything you fancy trying? Because we've got some quite unusual stuff. And they were not wrong. They had some very unusual stuff. So I got that Priacicaba, and I also got Striadolo, which is a salad leaf, but I know a plant that's very closely related to it that's called bladderwort. Beautiful name, but this looks very similar to it. And it's a salad plant, which I haven't actually got in the ground yet. I didn't get it in ground in time because during the time I was supposed to be sowing it, I was in the depths of Hampton Court despair. So I didn't actually manage to get that. So that's going to be next year. But yeah, I will put a link to Wenno Farm underneath here because they have some really interesting stuff. It was excellent. And actually talking about things that I have missed sowing, it's not too late yet, but I did intend to get some pak choi in right at the beginning of August and then some again right at the end of August. It is now the middle of August and I haven't got the first lot in. Or I got some in. You remember they're currently in the greenhouse, but it's the vivid one, which isn't a standard pak choi. It's a much more feathery one with a pink stem, whereas I want some real like proper I'm a pak choi. So I haven't got it in at the beginning. I'm going to get some in the middle and then probably maybe some at the end or maybe some sort of like 2 weeks into September or something. But that's like going to be for the autumn crops. And because pak choi is such a quick grower, that's not too bad. But really, I've got to start thinking about what we're going to grow over winter. It's that time already, isn't it? It's going to be, so we've got another week of August. This coming weekend is going to be the bank holiday. And that's the last weekend in August. And then it's blooming September. I know, it's distressing. I'm going to be planning for like putting my chilies in soon. Actually, I'm not going to do chilies in January this year. If I do any in January because I've got no willpower whatsoever, I will keep it to just a couple and then do my main sowing in early March. That's my plan. Because although mine did really well this year, I think that was mainly because we had such a brilliant spring. Like quite early on, I was able to get them out into bigger pots. Whereas like something like last year, when we had a crappy spring, they just suffered really badly. So I'm going to do a couple of early ones to see if I can catch a good spring. But if we have a crap spring, I'll do the rest of them later. I don't think there'll be that much of a difference by doing them sort of 2 months later because they're so slow in January. That's my thoughts anyway. You wait till January and I'm like, 1st of January, bam, we're so... But yeah, basically just cheers, chaps. I don't think we actually got a lot done this week. I feel like we spent a lot of time putting stuff back in the ground. Yeah, putting stuff back in the ground. Hopefully, that's not what we're doing at all next week. And I tell you what, if that is what we're doing next week, I will try and keep you out of it. I'll just mention it and then move on. I promise. Anyway, cheers. Cheers to my Patreons, who are the names that you see at the end of the video. And cheers to everybody else who's watching. I hope you don't have any fox trouble. If you have fox trouble, comment underneath so we can at least feel not quite so lonely. Cheers, chaps.